Very good afternoon. We've gathered here today to talk about nurturing talent at Venus. I would thank the Venus Remedies Limited and the social media team for giving me an opportunity to speak from my heart. That's what I've been told. Just speak from your heart today about my journey at Venus. So I am Harpreet Gill. I've joined Venus Remedies 5 months back. And briefly telling you about myself, I'm an MBA HR from UBS, University Business School, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Before that, I'm a graduate in English Honours. And after completing my MBA from a premier institute in North India, I had a campus placement in a very good multinational company wherein I joined, and I'm not very proud to say that I quit that job in a corporate in the first month because somewhere I felt I'm not made for the corporate world. And thereafter cleared my UGC NET and other qualifications which were needed to be a professor. And ever since, happily to academics for more than a decade now, working across India in most of the metros and in the leading institutes and universities across India. I've been teaching organizational behavior, human resource management, and I was in a very happy state in my comfort zone. Thereafter, I felt a need to upgrade my skills. Like maybe I think around after 15 years, I felt I need to upgrade my skills like MBA HR. Fine, I was from a premium institute. And what do I do? I'm something very passionate about. And during my this course of teaching students and nurturing the raw minds, I did felt that enhancement in students' lives gave me a lot of satisfaction. And there I felt, how can I elevate my skills more in that? So thereafter, we were in Mumbai, and I got hold of this course of image consultancy and soft skill training. And I enrolled in that course, which was a year course, and I did with ICBI Mumbai. And this was something I was very passionate for. Like ever since, I'm fond of carrying an image, dressing up, etiquettes, and well groomed. So this actually brought me very close to what I was very passionate about. To top it up, I did this course from Conseil Institute US, Salt City, and I was trained personally by Judith Rasman, image master #1 in the world, and I feel so proud and I'm extremely happy about it to be trained personally by her and doing image makeovers in New York Fashion Institute, in LA, Salt City, Chicago. So that was my journey. After my MBA HR, I took after academic sabbatical, did this course, top it up in US in wardrobe styling and other grooming aspects, which was I was very passionate about. And somewhere I felt it was a complete blend where I'm working with in human resources, teaching students about organizational behavior, human resource management, and now it is how to train, how to add, more of value to the students in the sense soft skills training. I mean, I felt the need where soft skills is much more important than the hard skills. The latest research says, which I always used to tell my students also, hard skills lead us to the job, but to sustain in any job and elevate it to a different level, it's the soft skills, how we carry ourselves, our communication, how do we manage stress and time. So it was something I felt this course was made for me. And thereafter, I got an opportunity to be in one of the leading university of India. I was associated with them for 4 years, and there my niche was grooming students for the corporate, like teaching them how to be professionals, how to conduct themselves, besides of course having the one of the best university accreditation, teaching them how to carry an appropriate image in various situations, and which made me gave me a lot of comfort, gave me a lot of satisfaction that I am in a very tiny way maybe contributing in the lives of these students. When these students were placed across the globe, and they used to get back to me telling, ma'am, what you taught in soft skills, how to conduct ourselves, which we never thought was so important, that we thought having a degree is all what we need, which we have from a premium institute. But the way how to conduct themselves in meetings, or how to be professionals, is something which is taking them to places. It gave a boost to my confidence. Yes, this is it now. I want more of a career in soft skills, grooming people, and in an image makeover. So being, as I said earlier, in working in most of the cities across India, it was time for us now to come back to our hometown. And here back in my city, Beautiful, which is very, very special to me, I was looking for opportunities here. And all I thought was, because after doing the image course, most of the people, they start on their own having a consultancy, but I was lucky enough to get a chance in one of the leading universities to work there. So in Chandigarh, probably I thought I am not going to get a chance to be in a professional institute or an organization, because all, we have those myths that all the professional organizations are in metros, be it Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, where I already worked. So, but there were circumstances where we wanted to move to our hometown. So here I thought I would start on my own, my image consultancy, and let's see how I can add value to people's lives, because I really enjoy transforming people. However, got hold of Venus Remedies, came across that I could join this, and they were looking for someone in skill development. My mentor from UBS recommended me to this, to just go for this interview and see how it would be. To be bluntly honest, I was, because when after my MBA, I had a brief stint in one of very good multinational. I was like, I don't think so, I'm cut out for corporate world. I remember, but he told me, just try, as he knew me because he's taught me that I am very passionate about teaching. He says, it's the same thing. It's an extension of what you've been doing for more than a decade now. Just go, see for the interviews, meet them. If you like, you can join. And I went for the interview. I wanted to be open-minded. And so my interview went on for more than 1.5 hours, met everyone at Venus. So that was the point. It was instant in the interview. I want to join this organization for sure. Because the words of respected CMD sir, which still echoes in my mind, and it keeps on ringing in me, is what he said: set up skill development, as after years to come, we would remember that it's set up by you. It gave me a sense of kind of, what you can say, commitment and a dedication that, yes, I would want this. And this is exactly what I wanted, like setting up my own department. Like, it's like, and the words which were exchanged in our conversation, it's like just taking your baby through and just growing your baby from a toddler stage to an adult. I took it as a challenge. And after meeting everyone from Venus Remedies, I mean, you get those vibes, yes, this is for me. And I never knew that I could ever join a corporate. However, I delved into it, joined it, and believe me, today, I don't regret my decision. In fact, I'm so happy and satisfied. I feel proud to join Venus today, because right from the first day, the growth intellectually and mentally has been completely increasing. And we started with skill development here, and it was just taking baby steps. So this is how I would just, of course, be sharing what other initiatives we've taken for skill development here. But joining Venus, let me just tell you how it was joining Venus here. And once I joined, right from the first day, everything is so organized, everything is so professional here. I mean, to the extent of maybe opening an account for a salary, everything was taken care of, to the needs which I never believed that such a professional organization also exists in my city, Beautiful. Like, once when we finished our MBA, 20 years back, it was, we have to move out of our hometown because all the opportunities are in metros. And that's what we exactly did. And oblivious to the fact that there is an organization so professionally run does exist in my city also. So right from the first day, everything was organized. What I had been exposed earlier in my working in various cities, it was fast track here also. And trust me, why I'm saying, I'm repeating it was astonishing for me to see if from a very small thing, like they care, like at Venus, they care for people. I mean, giving you an instance, a very small thing. I mean, people come from various places here. They might skip their breakfast, and there is a small meal also snack for them at 11. All those who skipped breakfast, talking about if you're talk about meals, amazingly lunch is organized for everyone here. So there are very small initiatives which you might, I mean, everyone think there are such small aspects, but it means a lot. So they care for employees, which I felt right from the first day. At the same time, extremely disciplined, organized, professionally run, which is my personality too, because I believe every organization has a personality, and it's the complete blend. Like, as I always used to tell my students, if you don't get selected in an organization, it's not something wrong in you, it's maybe the right fitment is not there in the of that organization, and there's something else for you. Similarly, I felt this was the fitment for me, like that jigsaw puzzle where the puzzle things, they just fit in, because the personality of mine and Venus are, I think, at the same page: disciplined, ethically, culturally, amazingly strong. And how at Venus is like they believe to be proactive, like for small little things, like we don't only adapt to the changes but also being very proactive, proudly telling you, citing an example, we are the first one to have organ on chip and to use in our preclinical trials and clinical trials, and we are first in India to adopt that technology. So talking about technology, we are fast track and fast paced. So it feels great to be associated with such an organization. At the same time, they want the talent to move at the same pace as they're adopting technology. So this gives you a lot of impetus to move, to learn, and to reach various heights. And that's why the learning graph right from the first day has been increasing. So this was Venus for me. As I said, every little thing was taken care of. They're a very listening organization, rare to find in these days, having working across. I mean, no offense to any organization, and I'm happy, very happy wherever I've worked. But here I got the same feel, like in fact more, it's a very listening organization, very empathetic. Here every employee matters and they listen. Recent research says listening organizations are the one who would reach the epitome of success. And I am in one of that listening organization. So these small things, I mean, kept me very grounded also at the same time, but very committed to the organization. And we started a journey of skill development. So right from the scratch, which we started, I was told that take baby steps. It's okay. We are not having training here just as a feel-good factor, but we really want to elevate and upgrade the employees and people here. So that was, that thought process is something so noble. Like, I mean, many organizations, again, no offense, is like training should be a feel-good factor. We are doing these many trainings, numbers matter. Here I was told the quality matters. Don't go by the numbers. How training, and at the end of it, people should gain by that training. I mean, to quote seriously, right on the first day when I joined, I had a brief meeting with respected CMD sir. Verbatim, he quoted, go ahead with training, invest how much you want to invest. You got the complete liberty to do that. And to me, the question, it was just going in my mind. I mean, taking so many steps, like, and he could read the mind. He said, doesn't matter if they don't stay also with us, but at least they'll contribute something to the society. I mean, I was really touched by those words, honestly. I mean, that's the vision of the leader here, whom not only as, of course, my CMD of Venus, I respect. From that day, it was reverence of a next level, respect him as a human being. I mean, the leader telling, invest in those people, do anything you want to do to upgrade them. They may or may not stay. That's not his concern, but he wants to contribute something to the society. From that day onwards, it was like, I have to do, right? In the interview, someone has entrusted and me that responsibility and trusting me, taking me on board, that set a department that after years we should remember that it was set up by you. And now that passion for the leader here, that people should contribute to the society, trust me, every day then it was these words ringing in me that I need to prove and I want to contribute maybe in a very tiny manner to this huge and such a noble vision of respected CMD sir. So we started with our journey of setting up the skill development. Now, as it was a new department to be set up, there was various initiatives which we wanted to take. Firstly, we tried to understand the needs of the employees, and as I was very new, I wanted to understand what are the requirements, how people want, what kind of training and what would elevate them. So we tried to do need analysis in depth, to the extent having in-depth conversations with people, and there we found that, of course, being a pharmaceutical industry, we need a lot of technological and technical trainings for them, which we organized, be it cystosynthesis, pharmacovigilance, biostatistics. These are few and have also become equipped with these technical terms. However, we also felt that we need to upgrade the soft skills, which we are very passionate about, and there is no end to saying that. I mean, the day we think I have all the soft skills, I think we are creating an obstacle for ourselves in our journey of success. So yes, we started with a very robust, as at the same time a very smooth kind of a curriculum with them regarding the communication and soft skills. So we started internal trainings. We did high external trainings, the best which was available for soft skills training also. We've also kind of introduced various kind, as I said, the technical trainings. Also, we thought when the COVID happens, how do we, I mean, we cannot be physically present and impart those trainings. So we went on the virtual platform, where that was also a learning for all of us on virtual training, as well as for me also it was that kind of learning for me. Also, then how do we reach out to people? Like, we have good 1,000 employees, like we started blogging, we started writing on various aspects, be it how to stay calm, be it dressing sense, be it about chromatics, which is study of colors, be it branding. I mean, I can go on and on, which people would read, because we have an internal platform where everyone has access to, and they can very well read the blog, see how, internalize the concepts, how it would help them. And it was a nice feeling when people after the blogs, they are trying to contact us, asking us what does that mean, how it can help them, of course in their personal as well as professional lives. So it gave us a lot of more encouragement. Yes, people are welcoming all these aspects, and it's like too much of satisfaction, where in the morning also today while coming I was stopped by someone saying, please put the next vlog on relationships, could you put that on? So it was, of course I would. So it is giving what people want, and this really matters here. It's not like at Venus, we're not believing that one size fits all. It is customizing training for every individual need. We've had trainings where we felt the effectiveness was not to that level what we expected. So we went to the extent of having in-depth conversation with each one of them to understand the mindset, what was lacking. And trust me, after that, the session we have, we found a huge change. So what I'm trying to just harp on the fact, it is customized. Every employee matters, every trainee matters to us, and we are going to cater to the needs in every which way, be it for IB learning a foreign language, be it a mental kind of an enhancement, be it meditation. So it's a holistic kind of an approach we are trying to adopt here, where physical, mental, social, all aspects are taken care into. That's what we believe in skill development. And so blogging we stopped, we started the blogging, and where in an organization is where we felt that people are approaching us that they want to refine their English speaking skills. Yes, we started with the newsletters of English Club, hiring external trainers for that. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Here, we are trying to feel the pulse of the organization, because Venus, the top management feels that. They feel the pulse of every employee, and that's what I'm just taking it forward in the form of skill development. As we believe, Venus believes strongly in innovations. Innovations is DNA of Venus. Similarly, I'm trying to just have a mini form of what exactly a Venus is in my skill development. So we are innovating, we are trying to have new concepts and adopt new ways to upgrade people. we've not only started with blogging, newsletters, we started the digital library where we have various categories of books, and soon we are in the process of purchasing and having our own physical library. I mean, so many things. Like if I go on, we are planning to have a wellness week where people can talk about to various doctors. We are planning to have cyclothons, marathons, so forth and so forth. The list is endless where we want to achieve. It's just baby steps which we have started right now. And I'm very sure the sky is the limit for us in skill development. And very soon we see people elevating to a different level. And I say that with a lot of pride because I get a lot of encouragement, motivation from the top management. And we all know we cannot work unless you get that support from the top management. I've got unconditional support from our president, HR, and our CTO, Venus, sir. Like, he has supported us unconditionally, given complete professional freedom. Like, it was, I mean, such strong hand holding where we were tumbling at various points, it was taken care of. And where you get in an organization, as I said earlier, I wanted to start on my own, and whatever I wanted to do as my own image consultancy business, I'm doing exactly the same. I'm replicating it with more of vision, more of professionalism from our CTO sir and President HR sir, who also has a very good international accreditation. We have CEO sir both having international accreditations. We have wisdom of respected CMD sir. We have respected JMD ma'am's vision. So everything blend together. It's a team which we are trying to elevate people here. I'm sure we would achieve very different heights for that. And so the journey here has been totally enriching for me. I'm so looking forward to working here and adopting new things here where people can really feel proud that they belong to Venus. People do. I join here. I do interact now because Venus has become a second family. 2 days or 3 days, if you don't come, you feel like it's something missing in my life now, because people here are so warm. They've been working here for 15 years, 20 years. They are so satisfied and happy. And it feels good for us as new employees seeing them satisfied and happy. And at the same time, they were so warm and welcoming. So it's become a second family to me now, Venus. So everything, as I said, coming from Mumbai here, and where I never thought I could work in corporate ever. So I got an opportunity to work as I'm repeating certain things. I'm so sorry for that, but I really want to lay stress. And that thing of being an academician reputation comes, it's come under my skin now. Anyhow, so it's been a very enriching journey for me here. And as I said, the vision here, because of a leader, is so strong, and we are going to achieve various heights. We're going to reach those heights definitely, where we elevate. Along that, we are elevated because we get wings to fly here. Honestly, I don't like to be caged as a person, and exactly, I feel liberated. A lot of professional freedom is given, with a lot of strong hand holding is there. So we got wings to fly, to take initiative, innovations. As I said, it's core to us. And at the same time, as I wanted to also talk about how culturally rich we are, I feel very proud to be associated with an organization who's technologically very advanced. As I just mentioned, what new technological advancements we are incorporating. At the same time, roots are so strong in the Indian culture, and that's what I stand for. So exactly that's what I got it. Like, technologically, we are completely advanced, we modern, but the roots, culture, ethics is very strong foundation in the Indian cultural roots. And I've been conducting trainings for cultural ethics, so I know what the policy is. So when I was preparing the presentation, came across me, oh, this is me, this is me. So I felt completely at home on that. So having said that, yes, this is an amazing place to work if anyone wants intellectually, mentally to grow, because as I just mentioned, you get wings to fly, and you get complete freedom, professional freedom to work provided you're committed, dedicated. So my one message to everyone is, like, I always believe, I used to cite this example to my students, we all are diamonds, but I'm sorry, I'm quoting the example of diamonds, diamonds are girls' best friends. So like, diamonds of no value if it's not polished, a raw diamond. But once it's polished, the value, its worth of the diamond increases. Similarly, here we get very much polished in Venus. We can sparkle, shine the way we want to, because Venus gives you that platform and that opportunity. So I want to shine like a diamond, be sparkling, and add value to Venus. Thank you so much, Venus, for accepting me so well. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to grow. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for having faith in me. And the thankful list goes endless for me. All I can say, thank you so much.
Wow, that was quite an insightful talk, ma'am. Now we have few of our viewers asking questions.
Sure, please go
Should I go
ahead.
ahead?
Sure, please go ahead.
So, Mr. Surinder asks, is talent an inherited thing or it can be built over a period of time? And if it could be built over a period of time, how exactly do we do that?
Okay. See, talent, definitely there's certain innate qualities which we have. Like, for instance, if you talk about talent singing, we could say it is an inherent or an innate thing which we could have. Having said that, talent definitely can be built up. It depends upon how willing are you, how dedicated are you. So talent is definitely as a thing which, by your conscious efforts, we can build up talent in whichever field we want. And that's why now these days we have so many professional courses to build up that talent. But the only one thing is dedication, perseverance, believing in yourself. Do I answer that?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Karthik Gowda asks, does the skill development program really help solving the real world problems?
Absolutely. The skill development program is, now skill development, it's a very broad kind of a word. Like, skills are of various kinds. It was the analytical skills, technical skills, soft skills, as we've spoken about, and so forth and so forth. So definitely the skill building definitely helps you in problem solving itself is a skill. So when you learn these skills, for instance, soft skills, you learn communication skills, how to be emotionally intelligent, how to have a high EQ, how to manage your time, stress, which would definitely help you in solving your problems. Depending upon what problem are you facing, there is definitely skill building in every field, be it technical or be it soft skills.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is from Shweta Verma. She asks, how does the organization play a role in improving our personal skills?
All right.
I believe by personal skills, she implies how it can help us achieve a better balance in our professional vis-a-vis our personal life.
Yes. Organization can definitely help us reach our personal skills. I'm sure everyone would be aware of, if not, Maslow's need hierarchy. Like, all of us have different needs in our lives. So the basic needs, the social needs, the self-esteem needs, the self-actualization. So we need to figure out at what level we are in that hierarchy. So of course, if I talk about the basic needs, an organization fills our personal needs. I mean, we get paid, and the other basic financial, non-financial incentives are taken care of. As we move up in the hierarchies, definitely social needs, we meet people, and as I have mentioned, it's become a second family to me, where you interact, and social needs are completely important. Self-esteem, the self-respect you have by the work you do, how dedicated you are. You achieve something, you get something back in return, the recognition you get, that's the self-esteem. Self-actualization is actually what you want to do in life, and you're getting that. Like, for instance, working in skill development, I can say proudly it's my self-actualization need gets more filled here. So personal needs, depending on your personal needs, and organization is key in fulfilling our personal needs. Yes, Santoshi, do I answer that question?
Absolutely, well, that's correct. So, Mr. Indresh Pratap Singh asks, how much important you feel communication helps in achieving success in life? How does it attribute to one's success or failure? Does the lack of communication skills accrue to a poor professional life?
Okay. See, communication, again, it's a very broad kind of concept, and it's been misunderstood. kind of a word. Communication is a very vast concept. When we talk about communication, and normally the myth which is speaking fluently in, say, English language, that's not communication. Any language, be it English, it's just a vehicle to convey our message. So how we are able to convey our message across whichever language, that's the first thing which is important. And when we talk about communication, communication only does not mean verbal communication. The impact of any message to any audience is just 93% is non-verbal and 7% is verbal. So the impact, what I'm speaking right now, it's more of 7% is through words. More impact is coming from those 93% which is non-verbal, where it comes body language as well as paralinguistics, which is the tone of the voice which is being used. So having said that, yes, communication is extremely important in portraying a professional outlook. And when we say about a professional outlook, the impressions, communication is an important key. When we talk about first impressions, I mean, this is a topic which is very close to my heart. I can go on for an hour, but I have to cut it short. To have the right impression, three aspects are important. We say ABC in first impressions: your appearance, your behavior, and communication. So communication is really important. Again, not only please focus on your verbal communication, but also non-verbal communication, your gestures, your paralinguistics, oculistics, chromatics, chromics, kinesics. This is the study of motions, your eye movements, the study of gestures, the study of positions. All these aspects, they contribute a lot in communicating professionally what kind of image you want to convey. Yes?
Absolutely, ma'am. That justifies the question.
Thank you.
Mr. DC Pawate asks, how do we exactly manage time given that we are so involved with our office schedule? How do we take out the time for building and developing new skills?
All right. See, being busy, as it said, is kind of, we all, whenever we say time management, we teach, we always say we are busy is somewhere we're not managing time very effectively. Because if something you really want to do and you're very much willing to do, you're dedicated to do, I'm sure you would definitely find time for that. And it could be not for skill building, you need to devote hours and hours for that. It could be as small as start from baby steps, like 15 minutes every day, whatever skill you want to build. Only key is be persistent in that. From 15 minutes, move on to 20, 25. Even if you cannot devote 15 minutes a day, on some days, just give it 10 minutes, 5 minutes. But persistency is the key to upgrade your skills. And time, we have to take our time for that. As simple as that, I want to lose weight in the morning, I will just shut off my alarm because I don't want to go. That means that willingness is not there. So if there is a need, and of course along with that, a willingness to fulfill that need, seeing the outcome of it, I think we can upgrade any skill, we can adapt or adopt any new habit. So it completely depends upon us. Yes.
Ma'am, Rishi, apparently a student, he's asking, how do I find my calling? I am kind of divided between different professions. How do I exactly identify where exactly I belong?
All right, Rishi. Rishi, first you need to understand what is one thing you are very good at doing. Just find, I'm sure there would be something which we are good at doing. Do your SWOT analysis. I'm sure you would have done at your college. So try to find out what is your strength is, and that's what we believe here also, not just thrusting trainings on the employees, but finding their strengths and how we can polish the strengths further. So find out what's your strength and what do you enjoy doing in life. I mean, make that as your career. I always used to tell my students. So find out that thing, what you enjoy doing, and your calling. You would get to know your calling. Spend time with yourself, whichever way you want. Give yourself some time, be a little lenient on yourself. I know it gets a little overwhelming at this stage too when you want to know a calling. So you get to know that. The rest, just let it flow. Leave it to the superpower there. You will definitely get there. But find out one thing for sure, what you're good doing, and you would see that your major chunk of the day goes in that. So follow that and find that calling, adopt that as your career. You'll be successful. I'm very sure about it. All the best for that.
Thank you for the insightful answer, ma'am. Now, Mr. Akhil C. Shan is asking, how can we develop cognitive skills at a work environment?
Okay, so cognitive skills is something which is related to your thinking. So, at the work environment, I think any work these days involves and it revolves around a lot of thinking, how we are planning, and how as a team we can work together. So definitely in our work you need to find out in your work what is the core you're doing. For instance, it's finance, it's sales, or be it training, HR. So find out that and find out ways how I can do the same thing in a better way. So because more we devote every day in the morning, I think once we come for work, devote for half an hour to 1 hour, depends from each work, the kind of work you have. How can I do that thing better? So more cognitive thing is also a skill. More we use it, it gets sharpened and it's imprinted in a subconscious mind. Yes, I need to use that more. So that's the way, and there are many such courses also these days which you have for increasing your cognitive way. But of course, that's a very structured way. But all I would say, devise your own ways, thinking, rethinking, starting from and completely also unlearning, unthinking completely. This is the way I think. Now let me think in a different way. So sometimes unlearning also happens when we need to completely adopt a new skill. So is it completely unlearn what you've learned till now and try to have a new way of thinking that might help.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Vasanti has asked a beautiful question. She is asking, at times so much of our time is absorbed in our office chores that we kind of fail to segregate and define a line between our office hours and our home hours. As a result, we do not give any time to our family, and the whole thing kind of gets a little disbalanced. How do we create that thin line difference between the two? How do we decide, that we need to have a certain threshold for our office hours, and beyond that, a certain time needs to be given to our family?
Right. So that's Basanti, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Basanti. I mean, what you are facing, I think many women do face, and in fact, work-life balance. She's trying to talk about that. Work-life balance it's become a fad today, a concept which is considered really fashionable, if I might have to put. Having said that, of course, everyone's struggling for work-life balance, and this is one concept I feel which has become little overrated, and it's very relative. It depends from individual to individual how you take work-life balance. Yes, as you mentioned that doing your daily chores at office work, you get very engrossed and you find difficult to find that threshold between and draw a thin line between your personal life and a professional life. To this, I would just say, what do you think about work-life balance? How do you want to manage the two aspects of it? Like, honestly, if you ask me, segregating the two completely, I know some might say that whatever I'm saying is something, but I'm talking about a very practical aspect. To segregate completely our work and our completely professional and our personal life, very difficult to achieve, because let's face it, even when we are working, we cannot segregate personal lives. We do get calls at times from children, from family, which we have to cater to, and we cannot say that I'm not going to take the calls. This is my time only of working. We do take it. So having said that, even research has said that when people come to an organization, they don't come leaving their emotions behind. Emotions are a part and parcel of every employer or every human being who comes to an organization. When emotions are coming every day, how can we segregate and say personal and professional lives completely? Once we are at home, of course, I mean, it depends how you want to take it. For me, it works like that. For sure, at home, it's not that, yes, I'm spending time with my family and everything, catering to the household responsibilities, but work is not completely which takes a back seat. I mean, I'm not asked to work or make some presentation or training schedules at home, but it is there when I'm at home also. What do I do? What do I do about the initiatives the next day? How do I take it to a different level? So for me, work-life balance is, yes, if we talk about physical presence, that could be one aspect, that how much time you're devoting to office, how much time you're devoting at home. But complete segregation, I feel it's very difficult to achieve that completely office may no phone calls from personal numbers or nothing catering to whatever happens to kids or at parents at home, I'm not going to. So when that is not possible, how at home I feel completely, I don't know, shutting off from work. It's just not possible. And I would just say, let's not be hard on ourselves, trying to segregate the two. Yes, spending time physically, that we have to decide how much we need at office and how much we need at home, depending on our responsibilities. But having said that, don't be hard to try to create that. There's a fine line, thin line, which it's relative to each one of us. How do you want to take it? Also saying that work-life balance also does not mean absolving us of our responsibilities. Like if I'm at work, I'm not bothered what's happening at home. I mean, sorry to use the house may be at fire, I don't care. We cannot do that. Similarly, even when we are at home, something really urgent, important, I can't say that's not my time, I cannot. For me, work-life balance works like that. Definitely, having said that, the time, the responsibilities, the priorities at home needs to be there, taken care of. And as I said, if you're dedicated, trust me, it's coming from the heart. You're dedicated, you're committed in your work, you will achieve that. People would be supporting you for that. So try to find out balance for your own, because it's something very relative. I hope Santi answers that. Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you,
You're
Santi,
welcome.
for the question. All right, just for the sake of time, I'm going to merge two questions. Aspita and Govind, even though they are at different stages of life, but their question is more or less similar. They're asking what simple tips you could share with us that would help us in improving our communication skills, given that Aspita is headed abroad post her masters and Govind is stuck in the regular chores of his work life, where he's not able to go beyond his current performance due to lack of communication skills. So how do the both of them devote time to improving their communication skills?
Okay, have they specified what kind of communication skills they want to improve, or it's a very generic?
It's a very generic question.
Okay, so could I have the names?
It's Aspita and Govind.
Okay, Asmita and Govind. I mean, I just received your question. Thank you for asking that question about communication skills, how you can increase your communication skills. See, again, and I believe it's again, a generic question, not very specific what part of communication skills you want to improve. So to improve your communication skills, please find out what kind of communication skills you want to improve. Is it your oral communication? Is it your written communication, or it's your body language? Having said that, we tend to give backseat to non-verbal communication, which is extremely an important component of communication. As I'm again repeating, the teacher in me, it's making me repeat again, because it's a powerful message. The impact of any message is 93% non-verbal. So please do not negate that. Lay a lot of stress on your non-verbal communication. At times, what you are speaking, and you might be very authentic and honest about it, but how the other person is taking is misunderstanding you, wherein you would feel that you spoke in a very honest fashion. So please try to just see in mirror what your gestures are, your eye movements are you having an eye contact or not while speaking? Because eye contact is very important, because it shows your confidence, your honesty, how authentic you are. So work on this non-verbal communication, extremely important. Try to have open gestures than closed gestures, if ever we can have a session on this. Anyhow, so open gestures is important. Smile, the most inexpensive and underutilized resource. Everyone wants to be associated with a pleasing personality, so be that pleasing personality. So smile, please smile, because people would want to be associated with you and want to work. So these are few things in non-verbal you can work about it, depending upon, I don't know at what state of life you are or what's your profession. So I'm just giving you a very generic tips for that. Also, please remember, after the non-verbal communication, it's not what you speak, but how you speak matters. So I see students or anyone taking dictionary and learning vocabulary in those words, using very difficult words, and they believe they would come across as good communicators. However, good communication is using the most simple words, which the other person can construe, which the other person can understand. So please use simple language, but be very cautious of what you are speaking, like not what you're speaking, but how you're speaking, which is also kind of a branch of a non-verbal communication, which is paralinguistics. in communication, try to see your audience. The third tip which I'm giving you, audience matters, the audience rules. I mean, you have to customize your communication as per your receiver, as per your audience, because you might say, this is my way and I'm going to speak this way. I don't care whether people understand. You're not going to get your end results, whatever you want to achieve, whatever your roles and goals are in life. So see your receiver, understand your receiver, at what level your receiver is, what is their mindset, what is their background. So you need to understand all that and convey the message. The same message to different audience or different receiver, you might have to convey in a different manner, because no two people are similar. So start respecting those individual differences. I'm sure if you tailor made your message to different audience, you will get the end result what you want. It's so work on these few tips as I've just mentioned, which would help you to be better communicators and convey a very positive impression. And that's altogether a science, how you convey and portray a right image or impression, because communication goes a long way. So I would just say, work on your non-verbal communication, not what you say, but how you say matters. Please, the third is audience. Understand your audience and receiver. Not one size fits all. Always remember that. I hope that helps you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was a very insightful discussion. You shared huge chunks of your experience with us. And we look forward to such more discussions in the future.
Sure. Thank you so much, Santoshi. Thank you, Venus. Thank you, Social Media Department, for giving me this an opportunity. And God bless everyone. Stay safe and healthy. Take care.